Factful Finance, How to Talk Your Parents Out of Equity Release, Home Equity Release Exposed Part 19. Welcome back to another insightful episode of Factful Finance. If you've been following our series on home equity release, you already know just how complex and risky this financial decision can be, especially for retirees. In today's episode, we're tackling one of the most sensitive yet important questions of all: how to talk your parents out of equity release. This is not an easy conversation to have, and it can often feel like walking a tightrope. You're trying to protect their financial well-being without coming across as overbearing or judgmental. But with so many homeowners opting for equity release, it's crucial to arm yourself with the facts and a strategy for discussing it with them. So, if you've been worried about how to approach this delicate topic, stick around. We're about to break down exactly how to handle this tricky situation, keeping your parents' best interests at heart while avoiding a potentially irreversible financial mistake. Let's set the stage first. Imagine this: your parents in their retirement years are looking to your financial burden and live comfortably. They've worked hard all their lives, but the thought of dipping into their savings or taking a second job seems overwhelming. That's when they come across home equity release, a way to access the value tied up in their home. The idea seems enticing: turn their property into cash without the need for monthly repayments. But here's the thing: equity release may look like a quick fix, but it's fraught with hidden costs, long-term consequences, and a heavy impact on their estate. In fact, it could end up costing them more than they realise, and in the worst cases, leave them with nothing to pass on to future generations. That's where you come in. Step 1. Start with empathy and understanding. Before diving into any of the financial risks or concerns, it's essential to open the conversation with empathy. This is a highly emotional decision for your parents, and dismissing their concerns without listening first could lead to resistance or a breakdown in communication. Remember, equity release may seem like a lifeline for them, especially if they've been struggling with fixed incomes or mounting expenses. Ask open-ended questions to understand why they're considering it in the first place. What made you look into equity release? Have you spoken with an advisor about it? What do you see as the biggest benefit of releasing equity from the home? Let them share their thoughts and feelings and truly listen to what's driving their desire to go down this path. Are they looking to improve their quality of life? Are they worried about running out of money in retirement? Maybe. They just want some extra cash for travel or family support. Once you understand their reasons, it's easier to approach the conversation from a place of understanding rather than confrontation. Step 2. Highlight the hidden costs and risks. Now that you've created a space for open dialogue, it's time to gently guide them toward understanding the potential pitfalls of equity release. One of the most significant issues with this financial product is its cost structure. The key here is to highlight the long-term impact of interest and how it accumulates over time. Here are the facts. 1. The interest. Interest on an equity release loan can be steep, typically around 4 to 6% per year. While this may seem manageable at first, the real concern is that it compounds. In other words, your parents will not only be paying interest on the original loan amount, but also on the interest that accumulates each year. Over the years, this can result in the loan amount growing exponentially, potentially far outpacing the value of the home. For example, if your parents release £100,000 today with an interest rate of 5%, in 10 years, they could owe over £150,000. If they wait until their 80s, that figure could balloon even more. Imagine what that means for the inheritance they'd leave behind. Number 2. The impact on inheritance. Speaking of inheritance, this is where the conversation becomes crucial. Equity release reduces the amount of money that could be passed on to their children or grandchildren. In some cases, the amount owed to the lender may exceed the value of the house, leaving little or nothing to leave behind. For many retirees, ensuring they can provide for their loved ones after they're gone is incredibly important. Help them understand that the benefits they might enjoy now could rob their heirs of their legacy later. Number 3, the risk of losing ownership. While equity release products typically allow homeowners to remain in their property for life, it's important to stress the risk of eventually needing to sell. If they outlive the loan or experience health problems that require moving into care, the house may need to be sold. This could leave them without a home and without assets to rely on later in life. 4. The costs of moving. Finally, there are substantial fees associated with equity release that can eat into the benefits. Most schemes come with early repayment charges, arrangement fees, legal costs, and even valuation fees. If your parents change their minds or want to sell their home down the line, they'll be faced with a hefty bill. Step 3. Offer practical alternatives. Once you've made your case about the risks of equity release, it's time to present practical alternatives. They may have considered equity release because they feel stuck in a financial bind, but there are often other options that don't come with the same long-term consequences. 1. Downsizing. Downsizing to a smaller, more affordable property could release funds from the sale without the need for a loan. The downside of downsizing is emotional. Leaving the family home can be difficult, but it's often a more sensible financial solution. Plus, they could invest any extra money in a safer way, like a pension or a savings account, which provides more financial security over time. 2. State benefits and financial advice. It's essential to explore all state benefits your parents may be eligible for, especially if they're over a certain age. There are a variety of support schemes, including housing benefits, that could help alleviate their financial stress without needing to release equity from their home. Encourage them to seek advice from an independent financial advisor who is not tied to a specific product or company. Certified financial planners, for example, are an excellent resource for unbiased guidance. 3. Part-time work or family support. While the thought of going back to work in retirement may seem unappealing, some part-time work or even family contributions might help them maintain their lifestyle without putting the house at risk. Remind them of the opportunities for remote work or consulting, especially in industries they've worked in for years. Alternatively, as their child, you might be able to provide some financial assistance or help them cut down on living costs. Step 4. Use real-life case studies to illustrate the risks. One of the most powerful ways to help your parents see the dangers of equity release is by showing them real-life examples of people who have faced these consequences. Take Liam, for example. Liam's parents, like many, were drawn to the allure of quick cash from equity release when they were in their 70s. They took out a loan of £75,000 to fund home improvements and a dream holiday. However, after 10 years, the interest on their loan had accumulated so much that their debt had doubled. When they went to sell their home, they were shocked to learn that the money owed to the lender far exceeded the value of the property. Their house, which they thought would be their legacy to Liam and his siblings, was sold, and the family received nothing. This example may be difficult to hear, but it is a real scenario faced by many who choose equity release without fully understanding its long-term impact. Step 5. Be patient, compassionate, and respectful. Convincing your parents not to go through with equity release will not be an overnight victory. You're dealing with people who may feel a sense of urgency and desperation to improve their financial situation, and challenging that can be uncomfortable. Keep the conversation open and ongoing, being respectful of their feelings and concerns. Don't force the issue. Allow them time to reflect on what you've discussed, and always encourage them to consult with a professional before making any decisions. Offer to be involved in the process and attend meetings with their advisor if they're open to it. At the end of the day, your goal is not to be right or to win the conversation, but to ensure that your parents are making the most informed decision possible for their financial future. Equity release can seem like an easy solution, but it's crucial to highlight the long-term consequences and present alternatives that offer more financial security without putting their home and inheritance at risk. Remember, your parents have worked hard for their home and their future. They deserve a retirement filled with peace of mind, not financial stress. You have the power to help them make the right choice. Use the knowledge you've gained to protect their legacy and their financial well-being. If you found this advice helpful, Make sure to like this video and share it with others who may be facing the same difficult situation. Don't forget to subscribe for more finance insights that will help you navigate the complexities of your financial life. And if you want to learn more about how to protect yourself from financial pitfalls like equity release, click the video on screen now. This content is for educational purposes only. Mentioning any apps, products, or services is not an endorsement. Always consult a certified financial professional for personalized guidance.